Now, I can't think of any other car that offers you the variety and performance than the 911. The scale is unbelievable, starting with the 911 Carrera and going as far as the GT3 RS, and slap bang in the middle of it all is this, the GTS, which I think on paper is the best 911 to buy. I'm Max Ottavani, welcome to Driven Plus. So this is the 991 generation, and most people refer it to as the 991.1. That's quite important because the 991.1 GTS and 991.2 GTS, they both have completely different engines. The 0.2 has a 3-litre flat-six turbocharged engine. This, the 0.1, has a 3.8 naturally aspirated flat-six engine. And yeah, I'd love to show it to you, but this is a Porsche, remember, and they don't like to show you what the engine looks like. Stats on this, 430 horsepower and 550 Nm of torque. Top speed, 192 miles per hour. Very impressive figures. Porsche say it'll do 0 to 60 time of 4 seconds flat. So let's see if they're right. Before I launch this from 0 to 60, I must say that this is the 2 GTS, meaning it is the rear-wheel drive version of this car. You can get these in 4-wheel drive as well. This does have launch control, and Porsche say 4 seconds. On your screen now are the stats and figures on this car, so pause your screen if you want to divulge into them. So let's see where this stacks up in the Driven Plus leaderboard. All right, this launch control sounds epic, by the way. Oh, let's go. What are we gonna get? 4.52. Do you know what? It's spun up a lot then, so we're gonna try one more. I'm gonna do one more with the traction on. Come on. It's a bit better. What are we gonna get? 3.96. We'll have that. Sub 4 seconds. Let's launch much better with the traction on. So there you go. If you're gonna buy a GTS, 2 GTS, launch it with the traction on. Now, one good thing about the first generation, you get the naturally aspirated engine, so it supposedly sounds better than the turbocharged ones. Can we please rev it up? It scared the sheep off, they're running away. You won't be able to see, but I can tell you they're running. Can we please put the car in sport mode and try that again? That's nice. Let's go take a look inside. Now, the GTS comes with a few optional extras as standard, starting with the door card here. Now you got the carbon fibre trim, all this kind of white stitching, which is all very nice, and everything's really well built. Bose sound system is standard too. The steering wheel is lovely and thin, Alcantara as well, and paddles are really nice to hold. Now, onto the instrument cluster, you get this kind of grey colour, which is an optional extra too. It comes standard with the GTS, but I just kind of love the layout of the instrument cluster. In fact, you get one kind of digital screen there for your information, but all the other dials are analog, and I love analog dials. But the kind of central console here, you got the carbon fibre trim. Your gearbox is really nice to hold, Alcantara again, heated seats, or your sport and car, different like suspension and sport buttons. Your headline is Alcantara. These has comfort seats with the 18-way adjustable, and you can adjust absolutely every aspect of these seats with the GTS embroidered there. Coming on to the back, this is a 4-seater car. I don't know who you're going to fit in, however, it does come with ISOFIX as standard. So what you can do is show this to your wife and say, look, love, the GTS comes with ISOFIX, meaning we can put the kid in the back. So you can then have a good excuse to buy a GTS as your family car. Yes. Glove box is a great size, but the overall layout of this is great. Nothing that comes standard with the GTS is the Sport Chrono. One thing which always impresses me with 911s is their overall use and practicality. Yes, it's a rear-engine sports car, but look how much room you get in the front boot there. And if that's not enough, you've got the rear seats as well, so you could easily go away for the weekend with your 911. Just maybe don't have a high-maintenance girlfriend. It is mad when we look at the 911 range, and theoretically they go off the same design language, but you get so many different types of models, it's bonkers. And when you attempt to explain to the non-car person all these different types of 911, they'll just call it a bit pointless, wouldn't they? And to make it that extra bit more confusing for you non-car people, I can get different models of 911. And yet of that different model, I will then get a different model yet again, like this one here. So I am sat in the Carrera GTS, and then of the Carrera GTS, I then get two models, the Carrera 2 GTS and the Carrera 4 GTS. So you can get a rear-wheel drive GTS or a four-wheel drive GTS. Because why not? So where does the GTS fit in? The Turbo S is faster, the GT3 has a better sounding engine, and that's faster too. This is much more of a road-going 911. The Turbo S is too clinical for some, and the GT3 can be too harsh for some, which I'll agree with, it's made for the track, that car. This is much more compliant to everyday use, what the roads chuck at us, especially being in the UK, and you still get a beautiful sounding 3.8 naturally aspirated flat 6 engine, which sounds nice. And this is the 2 GTS, meaning it has rear wheel drive. One thing this is missing from most of the 911s I've tested is rear wheel steering. Can I tell the difference? Yes, it's not as nimble as those cars. If you wanted rear wheel steer, that only came on the Turbo S and GT3 of this generation. The 991.2 GTS came with rear wheel steer, but it's still massively impressive. Really light on the front end. It really feels like the 911. This corner here really good. Pin it in. You steer it with the throttle. It's got 911 credentials, and the sound's amazing. As far as 911s go, it's very comfortable, it's compliant. Don't be expecting refinement though, because it's still a rear-engine German sports car, but it just seems to have everything. It's got a lovely soundtrack, it's great to drive like any Porsche, it looks good, and it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. Well, it's still a 911, and I get that, so you're naturally going to stand out anyway, but it hasn't got all these wings going on, which some people don't like. You know, it's a subtle 911. Not many people will know. It's a bit understated, isn't it? It's just so effortless in the corners. Everything about a 911 is on point. The front end, the way the car feels. Not that you'd be surprised that I'm telling you a 911 drives good anyway. But I really do think the GTS is the perfect 911 for the road. Changed my mind. Over the Carrera S, the GTS offered you more power, stiffer springs and a lowered ride height, with GTS meaning Gran Turismo Sport. Since I started loving cars and doing these reviews, one car which particularly stands out to me the most is the 911. I just love everything about them, the driving dynamics. And the GT3 RS is pinnacle 911, but let's be honest, that just makes zero sense. 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't make sense. But that's the big attraction for them, is just how nuts they are. But if I was to put my sensible head on and think, what car would do everything? Yes, one car which would pop to my head is the Turbo S, but that's too clinical. The naturally aspirated, the 991.1 GTS, yeah, it's like the midway stop from the Carrera S to the GT3. Something about this particular model. Like the next one, the 991.2, has turbos, doesn't sound as good as this. But there's something about this model here. I think though, if you're planning to buy a GTS, I'd personally go for the 2 GTS. I'll tell you why, because what's the next drivetrain down from the GT3? It's the 2 GTS and then the Carrera. So this is the next step down from the GT3, whereas the GTS for the 4 GTS, you've got the turbo, you've got the Turbo S. So this is the closest you get to the GT3 driving dynamics, right? Yeah? But I honestly think this has enough power for the roads. 430 horsepower from a car that weighs 1.4 tonne. It's just shy of around 300 horsepower per tonne, and it's about power to weight, isn't it? Like the speed, it's not, put my foot down now, I'm not taken back by the speed, it's not Turbo S fast, but it's fast enough. You'll still struggle to use 100% of its power to its red line of around 7,500 RPM. It's enough, it's power to weight. And to think this package here, the 991.1 GTS, you can pick up for around £70,000. And I think that's one hell of a car you're getting. and you can get two different, we're going back to more models again on different transmissions of that different model. You can get a 7-speed PDK, or you can actually get these with a 7-speed manual. Yeah, that'd be interesting to drive, wouldn't it? But it's just a great package. Everything you get about this car, I think you'd be happy, more than happy. One thing that I have missed from this 911 today is carbon ceramic brakes, because I do miss that kind of snappy bitiness that you do get from carbons and the responsiveness you get. Going into the corner, you can tell the difference because you can brake later with the carbon ceramics. So if you're going to get one, try and get one with the carbon ceramics. It'll give you much more of a driving experience if you want to drive fast. But I'd like to say a massive thanks to Alex for lending me this beautiful 911 GTS to do this review on today. Leave a like on the video, comment what you think of this car if you plan to get one, or what you think of the GTS as a whole. Subscribe to our channel because we've got a load of content coming up as per usual. And if you want me to review your car, get in touch with us via our website. You can click on Review My Car and we'll get a date in the diary. For now, I'll see you next time. Cheers, see ya.